Good afternoon, friends. It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm. Hope you are doing well and having a great weekend. As you just saw, I am almost done out here. Just one big job left to do. So let me walk you through what you just watched. Firstly, I got these two beds filled, got the netting on, everything's good to go in there. Last thing we need to do over here is take that bed apart, add a couple of pieces to make it the same length as these, and then move it here, shovel what's left that's in there, it'll kind of stay there in a big mound, shovel that into the bed, and then add compost on top, and then finish up with the wood chips. But I've got wood chips everywhere else, covering up all the dirt. You know, we don't really suffer from weeds that badly in this garden at all, and I think it's just because it's been many, many years of having weed-suppressed soil, either from growing things or from the wood chips. So it's just mostly for pathway and to keep it from being muddy, because when the rains come, this becomes very slick and very gross if it's muddy. So we've got beds that are ready. They are not topped. This one, and this one. I don't have anything to put in them right now. So they're just going to stay that way until I do need to plant them up. The lettuce that we started yesterday is going to go in maybe the circular bed, planted in a pretty circle. That might be really fun because the irrigation goes in a circle. But I don't know that I'll be filling all of these beds. We'll see. I do want to put a little more edge of wood chips along this edge here, but then this bed right around in here will be onions and mustard, of course, and then it's artichokes up there, which will fill in that space as time goes on. But as you can see, hopefully, not only is everything still here, but it's growing and getting bigger and looking good, and I'm really happy about that because that means that so far my project is working. Yeah, so all the plants looking good. Let's hope this continues. One thing I did do with this new hardware cloth that I bought is I bought the coated black. It was the same price, but because this stuff, see at the farm, the reason I got the galvanized, at the farm it's underground and you don't really see it, and it takes less wear and tear from the elements, but it does wear down faster than this stuff that is coated. So I got the coated stuff. It's actually way easier to work with. It's softer. I didn't get cut nearly as many times, so I will be continuing to use this. And it kind of disappears because it's black. You kind of don't see it, which I like as well. So I've been out here for a few hours and it's getting hot and I am tired and I need to eat. So I think we'll switch gears for the afternoon. I don't feel like I got it in me to do this final bed, but we are really close. I'm going to have to save aside a bunch of compost to put in this bed since this is going to be tulips. Since the soil level is low, it's much easier just to go ahead and plant them in here and then cover them over with soil once they're planted. I will also be adding just a very light layer of compost to the tops of these beds because they are pretty full, as you can see already. And so I'll give it some compost just to kind of rejuvenate the soil, and then we'll put in a little bit more wood chips in the pathways, but otherwise this area is pretty well set. I do not have cages for these. I will be building some, but I'm taking the advice of one of you guys, and I'm going to build some with either PVC or conduit on the four corners, so it'll be an actual like structural cage, and that I can take off and put back on, because that way I can use them in these beds permanently. Yeah, I have to store them other places when I'm not using them, or I could just store them on top of the beds if there's nothing in there. But that way I can more easily get in and out of these beds. So yeah, it's going to work great for things like peppers and all the more lower growing plants, but it's going to be a challenge for, I'm still going to struggle for peas and any kind of climbing bean and tomatoes. So the tomatoes this year the rats got some of them, but they left them marginally, like they left them mostly alone. It was everything else that they ate. They really love beans and peppers. Whew. So yeah, those are the plants that definitely have to be caged. But I'm not worried about peas until spring. So I have plenty of time to noodle that over and figure out a solution to that. But yeah, so I feel like making progress. It's looking good. It's looking ready to go into fall. And that makes me really happy. And then I can turn my attention to the farm, which is a big mess and definitely needs a lot of work. But we'll get there. All right, so I think this afternoon, after I have some lunch, we're going to go work on some of those succulent gardens, getting them repotted. I'll show you how emptied out the pots are. It's so weird. Like, obviously, they didn't eat the cactuses, but I'm thinking eating the succulents. First, I was thinking maybe it's because they needed water, but I have water. There's lots of water out there anyway. I leave water out for the bees and stuff, and so there's little places where the mice and the rats can drink. So I don't know. Like, it's just weird. I've never had them eat succulents before. Just bizarre. Okay, I'm going to go have some lunch, and then we'll reconvene in the greenhouse. The other thing about not working right now in the greenhouse is that this is the hottest time of day in the greenhouse. So if I give it an hour or so after lunch, I also need to start some sourdough, then it will be a lot cooler in there. Okay, so that was replacing succulents in 2 containers. I still have more to do, but I'm out of steam today. And I'm sorry I didn't talk or like engage you guys during that process. I was on the phone, got a phone call from my mother-in-law and had a lovely like hour and a half conversation. We were catching up, and so that's what I was doing. I was enjoying myself talking to a really wonderful human being and fixing our succulent garden. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how those two containers look now. They were so sparse and so just picked over. There are, like I said, more that I need to address, but that's not urgent. Tomorrow is Sunday. I probably will do a little bit more wood chip moving tomorrow, but we'll see. I got a few, like, I need to clean. I'm baking bread right now. I need to go in there and manipulate the dough and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. Maybe there'll be a video tomorrow, maybe there won't, but undoubtedly on Monday there will. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, you guys. I hope you have a wonderful time in your garden, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.